Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're going to be tackling intermittent fasting.
Okay.
It seems like everyone's buzzing about it, but sifting through all the hype can be kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Luckily, you shared this WebMD article called Intermittent Fasting Guide, Benefits, Methods, and Tips, and we're diving deep to give you the clear and concise info you need.
Right.
So imagine this. You're a friend telling me you're thinking about trying intermittent fasting. Where would we even start?
Well, the first thing I understand is that intermittent fasting isn't a diet in the traditional sense. It's more about timing your meals
Okay.
rather than restricting what you eat. It's like giving your body a schedule for eating and not eating.
Okay, so it's about when you eat, not necessarily what you eat.
Yeah.
But there are so many different ways to do it. Alternate day fasting, the 5.2 method, time-restricted feeding.
Right.
How do those work? Which one's the best?
That's where it gets interesting. Each method has its own rhythm.
Okay.
Let's take alternate day fasting, for example. You essentially switch between eating normally one day and significantly cutting back on calories the next.
So one day you eat like you normally would, and the next you're really limiting your calories. Doesn't that feel...
Extreme.
It can feel that way, which is why it's not for everyone.
Right.
But there's a fascinating metabolic reason behind this approach.
Okay.
See, when your body runs out of its go-to energy source, glucose, it flips a switch and starts burning fat for fuel.
Interesting.
This is called metabolic switching.
That sounds like a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
Does this switch happen with all types of intermittent fasting?
it does, to varying degrees depending on the method.
Okay.
The key is to create a long enough window without food to trigger this metabolic shift.
Okay, so metabolic switching helps explain the weight loss aspect.
Hmm.
But this article hints at other potential benefits too, right?
Wow.
Like, yeah, improving insulin sensitivity, which I know is a big deal for managing blood sugar levels. But how does fasting actually help with that?
It's about training your body to use insulin more efficiently.
When you eat frequently, your body constantly pumps out insulin to deal with the incoming sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Intermittent fasting gives your system a break, allowing it to become more sensitive to insulin's effects.
So it's like giving your insulin receptors a chance to reset and become more receptive, kind of like clearing out your inbox so you don't miss those important emails.
Right, exactly.
But the article also mentions this intriguing idea of mild cellular stress. What's that all about?
That's where it gets really fascinating. Think of it like giving your cells a little workout. When you fast, it nudges your cells into survival mode,
Okay.
triggering processes like autophagy.
Autophagy. That sounds intense. What exactly is going on in my cells during this process?
Think of it as your cells doing some house cleaning. They start breaking down and recycling damaged components, essentially making way for newer, healthier parts.
Okay.
This process is linked to various benefits, including potential protection against age-related diseases.
Wow, so it's not just about weight loss. It's about promoting cellular rejuvenation and potentially even slowing down the aging process. Now, the article also highlights a laundry list of other potential benefits like improved cholesterol levels, lower blood pressure, and even better control of inflammation.
It's important to remember that research on intermittent fasting is still ongoing. What we know today might evolve as scientists continue to explore its long-term effects.
That's a good point. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement, but we need to stay grounded in the science.
Right.
But let's say I'm intrigued by all this and I want to give intermittent fasting a shot. How do I choose the right method for me?
That's where personal preference and lifestyle come into play.
Okay.
Some people find the structure of time-restricted feeding, like the 168 method, easier to manage.
Okay.
They fast for 16 hours, usually overnight, and then have an 8-hour eating window during the day.
So it's like having a set schedule for when you can eat. That can actually be helpful for someone who tends to snack throughout the day.
Exactly. It can help create more mindful eating habits. Then there's the 5.2 method, where you eat normally for 5 days and restrict your calories to 500 to 600 for 2 non-consecutive days.
That sounds like it requires a bit more planning and willpower.
It does. And it might not be suitable for everyone, especially those with certain medical conditions.
Right.
It's always crucial to consult with your doctor before starting any new dietary regimen,
Right.
especially one as impactful as intermittent fasting.
Speaking of medical conditions, the article also mentioned potential benefits for specific conditions like obesity, heart disease, and even Alzheimer's disease. What's the evidence there?
Let's start with obesity. Intermittent fasting has shown promising results for weight management.
Okay.
Studies suggest that it can help people lose a significant amount of weight, often comparable to what they'd lose on traditional calorie-restricted diets.
So it's not necessarily a magic bullet for weight loss, but it could be an effective tool as part of a comprehensive weight management plan.
Precisely, it's about finding a sustainable approach that fits into your lifestyle. Now, when it comes to heart disease, the research is a bit more nuanced.
Okay.
Some studies suggest that intermittent fasting can improve markers like cholesterol levels and blood pressure,
Hmm.
which are key risk factors for heart problems.
But didn't the article mention a study that linked time-restricted eating to a higher risk of cardiovascular issues?
It did.
Okay.
That study highlighted the need for more research to fully understand the long-term impacts of intermittent fasting on heart health.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reminder that even with its potential benefits, there are still some unknowns.
So it's not a free pass to eat whatever you want during your eating windows.
Absolutely not. Making healthy front choices remains crucial regardless of whether you're fasting or not. Now, regarding type 2 diabetes, some studies indicate that intermittent fasting can improve insulin sensitivity and help regulate blood sugar levels.
Okay.
But, as with heart disease, more research is needed to confirm these benefits and understand any potential risks.
It seems like a recurring theme. More research is needed to truly unravel the complexities of intermittent fasting.
It's a dynamic field of study,
Yeah.
and scientists are constantly uncovering new insights. Now, regarding asthma and Alzheimer's disease, the research is still in its early stages.
Okay.
There are hints that intermittent fasting might have benefits, but we need more robust human studies to draw any definitive conclusions.
It's exciting to see the potential, but we need to approach these findings with cautious optimism.
Right.
So with all this information swirling around, who should steer clear of intermittent fasting?
There are definitely groups for whom intermittent fasting is not recommended. Pregnant or breastfeeding women fall into this category as their bodies have unique nutritional needs during these crucial times.
That makes sense. Their focus should be on nourishing themselves and their babies, not restricting calories.
Exactly. Additionally, people with eating disorders should avoid intermittent fasting as it could potentially exacerbate their condition.
So it's essential to prioritize mental and emotional health alongside physical health.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And individuals with diabetes need to be particularly careful and consult with their doctor before trying any form of fasting.
Mm.
It can significantly impact blood sugar levels and might not be safe for everyone with diabetes.
It's a reminder that while intermittent fasting might be trendy, it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Precisely. And finally, it's generally not recommended for children and adolescents who are still growing.
Hmm.
Their bodies require consistent nourishment for healthy development.
Okay, so we've covered who should avoid intermittent fasting, but what about those who are considering giving it a try? What are some important things to keep in mind?
First and foremost, consult with your doctor to make sure it's appropriate for your individual health status.
Okay.
They can help you assess any potential risks and guide you on how to approach it safely.
Personalized guidance is key. It's not about following the latest fad, but about making informed decisions based on your own needs and circumstances. What else should people be aware of?
It's crucial to listen to your body. Intermittent fasting can have side effects like headaches, dizziness, fatigue, and even mood swings.
Right.
If you're experiencing any of these, don't hesitate to break your fast and consult with your doctor.
So it's not about pushing through discomfort at all costs.
Exactly. It's about finding a balance that promotes both physical and mental well-being.
Okay, so let's say I'm ready to embark on my intermittent fasting journey. What are some practical tips for making it work?
Staying hydrated is crucial, especially during fasting periods.
Okay.
Drink plenty of water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee to help curb hunger and keep your energy levels up.
So it's not about depriving yourself of fluids, but rather choosing the right ones. What about food choices during eating windows? Are there any specific recommendations?
The key is to focus on nutrient-rich foods that will keep you feeling full and satisfied. Think whole grains, lean protein, healthy fats, and plenty of fruits and vegetables.
Sounds like a balanced and delicious approach.
Exactly. And remember, even though you have an eating window, it's not a license to overindulge.
Right.
Portion control remains important.
So it's about making conscious choices that support your overall health goals. Now, you mentioned earlier that different intermittent fasting methods have varying impacts on metabolic switching. Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. Some methods, like alternate day fasting, tend to induce a more dramatic metabolic switch due to the longer fasting periods.
So if someone's primary goal is weight loss, a method with a longer fasting window might be more effective?
It could be. But again, it's important to consider individual factors and consult with a healthcare professional. Now, let's talk about something that often comes up with intermittent fasting: dealing with hunger pangs. Any tips for managing those?
That's a big one for me. I get hangry pretty easily.
I hear ya. Distraction can be a helpful tool. Engage in activities that take your mind off food, like going for a walk, reading a book, or catching up with friends.
So it's about shifting your focus and finding healthy ways to cope with those cravings.
Exactly. And remember, it's a learning process. It might take some time to find what works best for you.
That's reassuring. It's not about being perfect from day one, but about making gradual changes that you can stick with over time. Now, we've talked a lot about the science and practicalities of intermittent fasting, but I'm curious about your perspective on a broader level. What do you think is the most compelling aspect of this approach?
For me, it's the shift in mindset from constantly snacking and grazing to having more structured eating patterns.
Right.
Intermittent fasting encourages us to be more mindful of our relationship with food.
It's like giving our digestive system a break and allowing our bodies to reset.
Exactly. And I think that's a powerful concept in today's world where we're constantly bombarded with food cues and temptations.
It's about reclaiming control over our eating habits and making conscious choices that support our overall well-being.
Precisely. And while the research on intermittent fasting is still unfolding,
Mm,
I believe it has the potential to be a valuable tool for improving health and longevity.
that's an inspiring thought. Now, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a final thought-provoking question.
Given what we've learned about cellular stress and adaptation, could shorter, more frequent fasting periods be a more sustainable and healthy approach for some individuals?
It's like microdosing fasting. Instead of those long stretches, you're incorporating shorter, more frequent fasting periods into your routine.
Exactly. It's a fascinating concept and one that aligns with the idea of giving your body regular opportunities to rest and recharge. It could offer similar benefits with fewer side effects and, importantly, better long-term adherence.
That makes a lot of sense. After all, sustainability is key when it comes to any lifestyle change.
Right.
If it's too difficult to maintain, people are likely to give up.
Yeah.
So if someone's listening to this feeling overwhelmed by all this info, what are the three most important takeaways you want them to remember about intermittent fasting?
First and foremost, consult with your doctor before making any major dietary changes.
Okay.
This is especially crucial if you have any underlying medical conditions.
Personalized guidance is so important.
It really is. Second, intermittent fasting isn't one size fits all. Experiment to find a method that suits your lifestyle and preferences.
So don't be afraid to try different approaches and see what feels best for you.
Exactly. And third, listen to your body. If you experience negative side effects, don't hesitate to break your fast and seek medical advice.
Those are excellent points. It's all about approaching intermittent fasting with a balanced perspective, understanding both the potential benefits and risks, and prioritizing your individual health needs.
Well said. Knowledge is power. By understanding the science behind intermittent fasting, you can make informed decisions about whether it's right for you.
Absolutely. And remember, this deep dive is just the beginning of your exploration.
Yeah.
There's a wealth of information out there, and we encourage you to continue learning.
Right.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of intermittent fasting.
Thanks for having me.
Until next time, keep those brains curious and those bodies nourished.
And remember, the best approach to health and well-being is the one that works best for you.